Salutations, Utopians. I hope all is well in your world. Global here. So, what an action-packed WNBA finals it's been. We're now going into Game 4, and the Phoenix Mercury are basically facing back against a wall elimination 3-0, even though tonight Kalia Copper tried to reel them in with late-game heroics along with Dewana Bonner. With that being said, four-time MVP Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces are just too quick, too physical right now for the Phoenix Mercury, and it's only going to look more downhill from here with Satu Sabali having to be carried off into the tunnel. Um, the fact that Aces defeated Mercury at home on the road while they were on the road is even more telling. However, I will say that they shown that they, some fight and some resilience. And if Kai Copper, you know, continues on this trajectory, anything is still possible. But Dewana Bonner, Kai Copper, Sammy Whitcomb, is going to take a unified effort. On the subject of the Phoenix Mercury, however, I want to talk about the situation that's going on with Napheesa Collier, who originally anticipated to be here in the finals, seeing how the Minnesota Lynx had the best record in the WNBA, and subsequently got injured in a pivotal game 4, I think it was, in Alyssa Thomas boom bang type of play, and unfortunately, she's now walking around in a boot. She's head of player personnel, she's vice president, I believe, of this contract CBA Negotiations with Kathy Engelbert, and it's getting awfully spicy now as we embark onto the off season, where I'm sure a lot of these players right now are keeping their composure, but got a lot more to say once the season ends. Um, the timing of Nafisa's press conference on the eve of the WNBA finals, I thought was very interesting, and she blatantly called out Kathy and even revealed some comments that were said possibly in confinement uh, behind closed doors. Some were said allegedly during the All Star game in public, but amongst only them two. I thought it was awfully bold for Nafisa to reveal that without an actual recording. If there is a recording and you really are serious, then I would think that it would have been appropriate to, at this point, to reveal it, because to just go, she said this or she said that, as they say in law, it's not what's true. It's what you can prove, and that is something to say that without any other backing of evidence is kind of questionable. Also, Nafisa saying, revealing Caitlin Clark's income, supposedly without retelling whether she did or she didn't, um, and using Paige name and Angel Reese and all these other players. Uh, Angel Reese was interesting because I do have a suspicion that she did not want Angel on Minnesota, hence why they passed up on her. And ironically, Angel's the exact kind of player they need right now to cover up the issues. I think they do the few issues that team had prior to her injury. Um, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not about taking sides, but it's just not really a good look. The latest thing that really was telling was the meeting with Kamala Harris, um, and refusing to meet with Kathy. I don't know if this is just trying to take it to another level and pressuring the WNBA into respecting or making Nafisa and the Women's Association feel heard. But I do think this is the same thing I had to say about like Jalen Hurts avoiding the White House. When you're in a position of leadership, I do think it's important that it never gets to a point where we can't have a sit down discussion, and otherwise we've missed the mark as leaders if people are not having civil discussions. Also, when I say we, I'm just talking in society in general. When people are in positions of leadership, it's important that it never gets to a point where people can't have a discussion. I don't know if Nafisa feels like things are not going to get to where they need to be with Kathy in there, so they're trying to go above her head and bring as much national awareness as possible. The players are not saying they want to be paid like the NBA, but they are definitely saying that they're seeing the teams they want more percentage of the revenue sharing. They're seeing what these teams are going for. Just recently, the LA Sparks announced the El Segundo facility is going to be in excess of I think almost $1 billion, something around give or take $1 billion. These teams are going for $250,000. Um, I'm sorry, the facility's $500 million, I think it is, for the Sparks in El Segundo, not too far away from where the Intuit Dome and the Clippers and Steve Ballmer built the Intuit Dome, um, but in LAX, but the airport, official airport of Los Angeles. But I think when you get to a place where you know you're not taking meetings, and also just the mere fact that Nafisa is, I think the timing of it does reveal a little frustration. She talks about the officiating. Here's the thing with that play. First and foremost, she took an awkward angle. Alyssa Thomas cuts the play off. One could make the assertion that because once the swipe at the ball, the steal was clean. Once the possession changes, technically the ref could have called clear path. And I think the WNBA should have stood their ground. And sometimes that's the only way you can respond aggression with aggression. And when the WNBA is being told, you know, that's when the ref should be on the panel saying, and this is a very important part. It's unfortunate, it's tragic what happened. I know when things happen like this, people want to find someone to blame, but in all actuality, we could have called clear path on Nafisa, and we didn't. And I think that is kind of getting lost in translation. I think the reality, like back-to-back years, no MVP, back-to-back years, no championship. Um, and the reality's kicking in. That window is closing, and it's closing a lot faster with these injuries. Back to back years, her body has failed her going into the postseason. And this year she missed 2 weeks. That luckily they only had 3 games in the 2 week window, but the cold hard reality is kicking in. Like, I'm not getting MVP. I'm not any closer to winning a championship. I have the serious rehab. I'm getting up there in years, and I think she just let it all out. And um, hopefully cooler heads can prevail. The game is catching amazing momentum, but right now it's still at a place where it's more beneficial for college players to stay in school than to come to declare early. I think that's a tall tale sign when the W will be in a more solidified ground, when you got players willing to leave early to go pro. But right now the W is not nowhere near organized enough for that. And then there's questions about the Boston Connecticut merger acquisition, saying that the Connecticut Sun are trying to take less money to stay or something way over my head. But obviously the NBA, Nafisa has expressed her frustrations with Kathy and the NBA for that matter, even stating that there's a 60-40 split in favor of the NBA. I can attest that I do believe that the WNBA algorithm even feels like the NBA this year, not like the WNBA on social media, if you know what I mean. And so it just the load management, the frequent injuries. A lot of this feels like the NBA already, um, and unfortunately, it is definitely drifting a little bit away from what they were originally. But I just think that at this point, you know, I would like to see Nafisa kind of reel it in. I know she's frustrated. I know she comes from a background of leadership, um, and I'm sure she knows what she's doing. But it does feel a little bit like this is um, not with the player's interest in mind to a degree. Um, I thought she should have won MVP last year. I don't know. I know she's got this unrivaled league, and the WNBA they're saying is discouraging. Would rather players not play in the unrivaled league in the off season, but the players are saying we're making way way more money than we've ever made. There's allegedly some type of uh, max contract going up to $1 million being proposed. The players said they deserve even more than that. So it'll be interesting to see how this thing plays out. But these are some things that I just wanted to put out there. Haven't made a video in a while, but I don't think necessarily the WNBA is all bad. I could see Kathy stepping down, Lisa Leslie taking over, someone like that. But as of right now, more than anything, it's just very unfortunate to see this much uh, seeing how discombobulated the league and the players are right now, because it takes a unified effort. The WNBA to get the WNBA where it needs to be. They're in a golden era. It took the NBA a lot longer to do this. They were only in their 28th, 29th year. And so um, it's amazing that they've even gone this far, and they have a great opportunity to take it even further. And you just hope that they can get on common ground on this matter, because this is going to set the tone. One thing I will say, they got to stop double stacking these games and pushing them on the wrong dates of other competing leagues that have major events to really push it forward. That's something the players should try to proposition for in the next negotiation, so you could even get crazier ratings, which would obviously beget more money, and so on and so forth. But I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. I do think that the WNBA has a chance to really take off, as you can see with these teams being sold for more and more money every year now. All right, Utopians, I hope this video was informative. I'll try to do better next time. Global out.